This week on Ramblings, we've been exploring my dissertation from Edinburgh for my LLM in International Law, and today we're going to get into the part of this dissertation that is most likely to get me in trouble with a lot of people, which is the discussion of Palestinian statehood. This dissertation is explicitly not an argument about whether or not Palestine is a state. Instead, it's questioning, questioning what are the issues at play, what are the arguments that are out there. So I'm going to talk about various claims, both for and against Palestinian statehood, without explicitly saying whether or not I think it is. But the dissertation was certainly, I will say, Palestine, whether or not you personally think it is a state, it is indisputable that other people don't think so, right? There are states and populations and groups that do not agree that Palestine is legally a state. So the idea of this dissertation was that we can explore how Palestinian involvement in environmental international agreements can help push for that legal claim to statehood and greater recognition from various actors that currently aren't recognizing it. Okay? Cool. So by all means, comment and continue the debate about whether or not Palestine is a state, but just know that I am not attempting to explicitly say or don't say that I think Palestine is or is not a state. It is legally questionable, as is, I think, almost all statehood, because the international law just is a funny little thing. So, Palestine. In a lot of ways, Palestine seems to be a state. It has a population. It has a government. It has the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The weakest issue is the question of defined territory and independence. So the West Bank and Gaza are considered by almost all international relations to be Palestine, but those borders are not explicitly and universally agreed upon. And many actors claim territory of the modern state of Israel for Palestine as well. Israel, of course, claims certain parts of Palestine for it as a state. There's also the question of sovereignty and independence, and the fact that the economies are very, very intertwined between Israel and Palestine. Some legal jurists, even if they want Palestine to be a state, would be like, look, it's currently not, because there isn't enough independence on the part of the Palestinian government. You're not in enough control of the economy. You're still too dependent on Israeli institutions and financing and those kind of things. Again, all up for debate. These are the arguments. However, control over the area, and also agreements with Israel about environmental regulation and things like this, division of resources, help to strengthen Palestine's claims to define territory and to statehood. In 1988, on the 15th of November, the Palestinian Liberation Organization declared independence for Palestine. So it said, we are a state, here we are, and claimed sovereignty over Palestinian territories, with Jerusalem as its capital. A lot of that claimed area has been occupied by Israel since 1967, though the Palestinian National Authority now has administration over much of the West Bank and Gaza since 1993 in the Oslo Accords. Then, in 2012, on the 29th of November, Resolution 6719 of the United Nations gave Palestine non-member observer state status. What? Which was an upgrade. So previously, the Palestinian National Authority, the PA, was an observer entity at the United Nations. It is still not a full member of the UN, and is very unlikely to become so, given political realities in, the immediate future. Many states still have not explicitly recognized Palestine, even with this resolution. But the new status at the UN does explicitly say state. It is the same rank held by the Vatican, actually, Vatican City at the UN. So this bizarre nebulous, you're not a full member, you're not quite a state, but, we recognize you as a state in some way. So Palestine has one legal recognition from many states in a agreed upon major legal arena, an international arena. I would say that Palestine's decision to go to the UN was part of a deliberate strategy for statehood, but the legal and political implications of that vote and the success continue to be contested, but of course, it was widely celebrated by supporters of Palestine. So many scholars believe that Palestine is legally a state. Others say that a state creation is not some side effect of international treaties, even at the UN. Palestine has not implicitly become a state via the UN vote. So, controversial. Tomorrow, though, we'll talk about how this, how it could be further argued for. I guess we'll say via the environmental agreements.